If you're considering a move to another country, you may be thinking about what to bring with you if and when you make the move. That is, how much can you bring, how much will it cost, and what's the best method of transport? And let's be honest, you may be thinking about the emotional distress associated with leaving a lot of your stuff behind. So in this video, I'll share with you what I brought when I made the move from the United States to Costa Rica. I'll share with you the best information that I've gleaned from the social media groups posted by other people who have made a similar move. And for those of you who have no intention of leaving anything behind, I'll have some information about larger cargo shipments. Having completed my reconnaissance mission to San Jose, Costa Rica, having made the decision to move here permanently, I returned to my home in New York City and began the process of divesting myself of just about everything I owned. I had a 60-day window within which to get rid of 40 or 50 years worth of stuff, and I needed all 60 days. So I did this in the ways that you might expect. I took a lot of stuff to the Goodwill. I put a few big pieces on Facebook Marketplace. I had a couple of street sales during the weekends, and I got it all done. Long story short, it wasn't emotionally easy every step of the way getting rid of all that stuff. And there were some logistical issues that needed to be figured out. For example, I didn't get rid of my mattress on the first day and then sleep on the floor for 59 days. So there was a bit of a puzzle there figuring all that out. But anyway, I got it done. Now, there is one piece of this purge that I thought it would be useful to spend a minute talking about, and it's this. We all have those photo albums, those family photo albums, that are near and dear to us, and we don't want to throw them away, but in my case, I didn't have any room for that stuff. Same with all that stuff that was in the filing cabinet. Some of it I needed to keep, most of it I did not. So what I did was, with regard to the photos, I took them out of the album and I scanned them and I saved them as digital files. Anything that I really needed in the filing cabinet, and there wasn't much, I turned that all into PDFs. Again, I saved it as digital files. And I saved all of that on an external computer hard drive like this one. It plugs into your computer. These cost about $100. They're available at Walmart, Target, Best Buy. Obviously, it's a very efficient use of space. This will hold everything that you could possibly have. I had many years worth of video projects and music projects from the old days and graphic design projects. And this little gadget is still, it's only half full. So it's important, if you decide to go the digital route, to make sure that your files are backed up in at least a couple of places. Yes, you can back them up on your computer hard drive, but you should also, I recommend, backing them up on a separate device, because these things do fail. Computers can get stolen. This little gadget can get dropped and then it'll fail. So it's important to back up everything in at least a couple of places. So in the end, this is what I brought with me. 4 pieces of luggage, 2 bags of clothes, 1 small laptop computer bag, and 1 small box that had a few electronic gadgets and a few mementos that I just really could not part with. Now, what did it cost? Well, my dirt cheap, one-way Spirit Airlines pandemic era airfare was $100. With that, I could carry on 1 small bag. So I took the computer laptop on board, stuck it under the seat, and the other 3 pieces of luggage I had to pay for. The first bag of clothes was $50. The other bag of clothes and the cardboard box were each about $75 or $100. So my total cost for the move was a little over $350. Now, not everyone wants to go full bohemian backpacking minimalist like I did. Some people own things of value and they would like to bring those things with them if possible, and for good reason. So here are the items that are recommended most frequently on social media by other people who have made a similar move. First is power tools, also high quality kitchen knives, any kind of compact household appliances like a juicer, a blender, a food processor, or even a compact Dyson vacuum cleaner. Bed linens, if you have Egyptian cotton sheets that have a certain thread count, this is actually mentioned quite frequently. And to that list, I would add electronics. There are at least a couple of reasons why these specific items keep showing up on the same lists in the social media groups. One is that it probably doesn't make good sense to sell these things at garage sales for pennies on the dollar and then move to another country and purchase everything again at retail. It probably makes more sense, because these items are small enough to fit in your checked luggage. It probably makes more sense to put them in your luggage, pay the extra baggage fee, and then when you get to the new country, you'll have these things ready to go. Another reason is that when you get to a new country, these items may not be available. For example, I live in a metropolitan area, therefore we have something that looks like Home Depot, and we have Walmart. So I have purchased, for example, power tools. They're familiar brands. They're reasonably priced. Everything is fine. Not so much for electronics. I find that the quality tends to be inferior. The price tends to be higher. They tend not to last very long. And so for that reason, I wait until I return to the United States to make those kinds of purchases. For those people who move to a different country and are not near a metropolitan area, maybe they move to a small town near the beach or in the jungle or something, it's unlikely that any of this stuff is going to be available at all. So those are the two main reasons why people recommend bringing these certain items. By the way, anything ordered on Amazon here in Costa Rica, it's going to cost double. That's because the items have to travel a longer distance. That costs more money. And when these items get to the border, they're going to be hit with an import tax that is known to be higher than average. That covers what to bring. Now, what's the best method of transport? Well, the recommendation that I see most frequently on the social media groups is to use these containers that are made by Rubbermaid or Sterilite or Craftsman. They're not expensive, and the 20-gallon size has the same dimensions as the maximum dimensions allowed for checked luggage by the airline. Typically, there's a 50-pound weight limit per piece. Sometimes they'll let you go to 70 pounds, but they're going to charge you for the extra weight. And what everyone probably wants to know, how many of these can you bring? An excellent question. And the answer is there are all kinds of variables. One is it depends on which airline you use. Another is, do you have an economy class ticket or a first class ticket? It depends on whether or not it's the busy tourist season. And it can depend on where the flight originates and where it terminates. That is, it's different from United States to Europe, United States to Central or South America. So by all means, check with the airline. Finally, and of course, if you're traveling as a couple or traveling with a family, you can pool those numbers and potentially bring a lot more stuff. What about larger cargo shipments? Well, in the course of conducting research for this video, I contacted a few shipping companies in the United States and asked for a quote for a hypothetical shipment from Houston, Texas to San Jose, Costa Rica. I learned that the minimum shipment they will accept is 200 cubic feet, or that's these two pallets about 6 feet high. Minimum cost for that shipment would be $5,000. Presumably it would be more if the shipment originates somewhere more remote, like Kalispell, Montana, or Peoria, Illinois. The next level up from that is a short cargo container that's 20 feet long, 1,000 cubic feet of cargo space, and that shipment would be a minimum of $15,000. Now, that amount of money may not be sufficient to persuade some people to change their mind about these kinds of shipments. But it gets a lot more complicated and a lot more expensive. For example, when that shipment reaches the port of entry, it's going to have to be unloaded from a cargo plane or a cargo ship. This almost certainly will incur additional fees. The shipment will be placed in a storage warehouse. This is going to cost more money. A broker will have to be hired. It's a requirement. This is someone who is on site and helps move the shipment through the customs process. The shipment has to be accompanied by a bill of lading, and this is a spreadsheet that lists every item that's in the shipment, and every item will have to have an estimated value associated with it. This process can take months, or even there are reports of it taking more than a year or two. Now, there's one final piece that is tangentially related to this topic, and it's this. Not everyone who moves to another country intending to stay there permanently, not everyone lasts more than a year or two. Some people change their mind, they move back to their country of origin. There are any number of reasons why this could happen. It might be that the cost of living is higher than expected, and this can be an unpleasant surprise. Maybe it's the rinky-dinkiness of the bureaucracy. People want to start a business or open a bank account or build a house or purchase a car, and the permits are difficult to obtain and the bureaucracy moves very slowly. Sometimes people have difficulty adapting to the differences in culture, or maybe it has nothing to do with any of that, and maybe someone, a family member back home, needs support, or there's a business matter that needs full-time attention. It could be anything. People do boomerang back to where they came from. So now you can imagine a situation where people have a cargo container full of their stuff tied up in a customs warehouse, and they're ready to move back home. This can turn into a financial, emotional, and logistical nightmare. So I don't want to be the harbinger of unpleasant news. I do want to maintain an upbeat tone with these videos, but there really are no circumstances in which I could recommend initiating a large shipment of this type. In this case, that's the best I can do. So having arrived here in San Jose, Costa Rica with my 3.5 pieces of luggage, the next step was to find a good, cheap, clean, modern place to live in a good neighborhood, which I somehow did. It wasn't easy. It was quite an adventure, and I'll share that story in the next video. But for now, may I encourage you to leave a comment, and the best way to find those other videos is to click this button right here in order to follow the channel. I get a kick out of sharing these stories, and I hope you find the series to be informative and enjoyable. Thank you for watching.